Hey everybody, welcome to Coram Deo. Coram Deo is Latin for before the face of God, the idea being that everything we do is carried out in His presence. But to me, it runs deeper than that. It means that everything I do and everything that you do should be done with Him, under His authority, and for His glory. With, under, and for. My name is Blake Crawford, and my passion is simple, to help you know and experience the Lord on a deeper level. My goal is for each devotional to go deep, with pointed observations, honest questions, and a practical application you can carry into your day. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today's devotional is called Pruned for a Purpose, Cut Back to Bear More, and we will be taking a look at John chapter 15, verse 2. So get a fresh cup of coffee, grab your Bible, and let's dig in. Let me read John 15, verse 2. Every branch in me that does not bear fruit, He takes away. And every branch that bears fruit, He prunes, that it may bear more fruit. Jesus says, I am the vine, and you are the branches, in John 15:5. The image is intimate. We don't produce fruit on our own. Every bit of life, growth, and fruitfulness flows from our connection to Him. Apart from the vine, a branch withers. Attached to the vine, the branch bears fruit. That makes sense. But what caught me off guard is what Jesus says in the second part of John 15, verse 2, which is, and every branch that does bear fruit, He prunes, that it may bear more fruit. Did you catch that? Every branch that does bear fruit, He prunes. Why? So it can bear more fruit. That's cool. We expect God to remove anything that doesn't bear fruit. But why would He cut back something that's producing fruit and that's working? Why does God prune branches that are already bearing fruit? It seems counterintuitive, doesn't it? Yet He does. He takes a blade to what's growing, relationships, comforts, seasons, even good things. And often He does this when we're completely blind to the need. I believe God does this because He sees what we can't. What looks fruitful on the surface can be quietly starving at the roots. And God isn't fooled by a life that appears productive. He sees the structure beneath it. When growth outpaces the roots, He cuts back to restore what matters, your connection to the vine. Now today's post is personal to me. I owned a landscaping company for 18 years, and I learned this firsthand. A plant could look lush and healthy on the outside, full of leaves, covered in blooms, but underneath, the structure was weak and the energy was going to all the wrong places. The plant was malnourished, starving at the roots while spending everything it had on surface growth. That was a recipe for disaster. However, being trained to see below the surface, we knew that the best remedy wasn't a gentle trimming, but a regenerative prune, something we called a hard cutback. When you perform a hard cutback, you cut deep into the arteries of the plant and remove significant growth, clearing out decay and poor structure. To an untrained eye, this pruning looks extremely destructive. And believe me, I've had many clients comment as such. But in reality, it opens the canopy so light can reach deep into the interior, which redirects its energy back to the roots and gives the plant room to breathe. The plant often grows back stronger structurally, and even with more blooms than before. That's exactly what God does with us. He sees the spiritual malnourishment hiding behind a successful-looking life, the busy schedule, the full calendar, the ministry that quietly starves your soul. We can't see it, but He can. And He loves us too much to let us keep growing in a way that's killing us from the inside out. Today's big idea. God doesn't prune to punish. He prunes to rejuvenate, removing decay, creating room to breathe, and restoring your ability to draw life from the vine. The pain of the pruning is evidence of His purpose, not His displeasure, and He often does His deepest work when we're completely blind to the need. Now let's take a look at some questions to ponder. Can you identify a season when God made hard cutbacks in your life, removing something good to make room for something better? Looking back, what fruit came from that pruning that you couldn't see at the time? And finally, is there an area right now where God may be pruning and you're resisting the cut rather than trusting the gardener? Here's an application. This week, ask the Lord to reveal one area that He may be pruning in your life. Instead of resisting the pruning, bring it to Him honestly. Lord, I trust that You're the vine and I'm the branch. Help me to trust You and see what You're doing and what You're making room for. Write down what He reveals and then revisit it at the end of the week. In closing, I want to thank you for tuning in to today's podcast. My hope is that the Lord stirred something in you today that He can use to draw you closer to Him. If you enjoyed today's podcast, or if the Lord put someone on your mind who could benefit from listening, I'd be grateful if you would share it with them. You can also follow along at Coram Deo on Facebook and Instagram for daily encouragement, or visit blakescrawford.com to receive these devotionals straight to your inbox by signing up. Until next time, friends, may God bless you and keep you.